Brooke Boone here, founder of Holy Yoga. I'm privileged to be here in this video series with you, kind of getting you up to speed. You go, I don't know how to do these things they're doing in classes, and I'm a little uncertain and insecure. And so we've put this series together to say, we get it. We so get it. We've all been there at one point or another. So I'm just here to bring you some tips and understanding, some insight and some sensation into the poses that might scare you the most. Okay, so today we're getting after your hips and we're going to come into pigeon pose. Now listen, not my favorite when I first came to the practice, not my favorite. And there are days like if I go hiking or I go running or doing something like that where, wow, this is really painful. Not so much painful, but uncomfortable. But the thing about that is such an indicator. Those sensations of discomfort are such indicators that you need it. That you need a little bit of a balance. You're tight, your muscles have been working, and now they need some oxygen and some blood flow and some restoration. So if you find that this pose, much like I do, is a little uncomfortable, it's okay. It's kind of an indicator that your body needs it, so you're on the right track. So let me encourage you with that before we get into it, okay? Pigeon pose is just really about the outer edges of the hips and getting into those. So we can come into all fours, kind of the way that we start a lot of these ground postures is from all fours. So we're gonna come into all fours here, and then I'm just gonna bring my right knee forward in between my hands. Now inherently, as my right knee comes forward, my left hip's got to slide back a little bit. Now depending on your hips, oftentimes this left hip, you'll roll to the outer edge of the right hip, right? So this left hip will stay high. What I want to try and have you do is literally square your left hip to the mat. So you want to literally try and roll the weight over to the left hip or the extended leg hip, and then walk forward and melt the heart forward. Now, again, anywhere along the way is perfectly appropriate, right? If you can only stay right here with your shoulders over your hips, great, that's awesome. You're really getting into the front side of the extended hip, so this left hip. But if you can come forward, I'd like to see you try and do that. Now, the tendency when you fall forward now is to roll all the way into the other hip, this left hip, where I want some weight in the left hip, but if I go too far, well then my right hip's not getting it, right? So I want you to try and find that sweet spot, a little bit of balance. And depending on the day, like today for me is okay with pigeon. So I could probably stay here a good 3, 4, 5 minutes on each side. But if it's maybe your day today where you're like, wow, this is really kind of uncomfortable, I want you to try and just breathe for 30 seconds. And just finding that victorious breath or the active breath will start to sort of focus or turn rather into a focused breath. So the longer you stay and the more that you breathe, know that the more oxygen and more blood flow and more repair is going on in your joints and your muscles. And the hips in particular, friends, carry a lot of weight. They're the largest muscles. They kind of are encapsulated by the largest muscles in our body, which are the glutes and the legs and the hamstrings and the low back. And so the idea here is that it will take a little bit of time to sort of open that up and get some blood flow into those places. So just taking a few more breaths here. And then when you're ready, you're just going to walk your hands back, stacking the shoulders over the hips, and then kind of rolling to the right side or the front hip, and just bring your back foot forward. So you'll make sure and do both sides of your pigeon pose. The last thing I want you doing is hobbling around with one leg longer than the other, right? So please make sure that you do both sides and just integrate this into your practice. You can do this while you're watching TV with your kids. You can do it on the counter when you're waiting for pasta to boil. You can integrate these things into your life. So I hope this is serving you well. I hope that you're getting some freedom in your breath and freedom in your body. And I'm just excited to be able to do your journey with you or start your journey with you. So we want to see you though. We want to see what's going on with you. So please follow us and join us and show us what's going on behind your closed doors at #HolyYogaNewbie, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll talk soon. Have a great day.